Man, yeah, I desperately need to get a haircut. Also, I just hope the light. Sorry, just grabbing my pillow. Because. Oh, wait, one more thing. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Well, let's start. Three, two, one, action. Hello, welcome back to my live stream. Hold on. Is my earbud thing connected? If it's up. Okay, no, it's not. Whew, okay. Three, two, one. Hello, welcome back. So, my name's Dom Kills. So, as you may know from the title of this, I'm basically this week has been very rough for me because not only am I dealing with biz chaos, but I'm also dealing with I did not have a day off this week from my job. That is true. I did not have a day off this week from my job. Okay? And we're going to be diving in there in about a minute. So, hello Dark 113, how are you? That really sucks. No day off. Yeah, I did not have a day off. So, here's overall though what exactly had happened. So, originally, this was the week we were getting inspection. We were getting an inspection at my job. So, my manager had both me and my coworker working on particular days. So, I was gonna be working Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and my coworker was going to be working Sunday also, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But things happened, and on Sunday, my coworker, um, I really can't say much, but let's just say he busted his foot. He busted his foot and ended up in the ER. He busted his foot and ended up in the ER this week. And no joke, that was not even, that was just, I don't even know how that's possible, how he was able to bust his foot. Like, here's the thing though. When we were both working together on Sunday, okay? When we were both working together on Sunday, okay? Everything was fine until like a particular time in the middle of my shift and his shift. He had ended up saying that his foot was hurting, and at first I thought maybe he had accidentally like bumped into something, kind of like what I do. Because here's the thing though, if you know me, I'm very clumsy once in a while. I'll occasionally bump into something. I'll accidentally smack my face in a door. I'll bump into a wall. I'll even accidentally bump right into a person without even knowing, like they're right in front of me. But anyways, yeah. So I assumed that had happened and I got him a chair. Okay, I got him a chair because he really couldn't walk. He couldn't walk. So I went out, got a chair for him to sit down. Okay, to sit down. Now, while this was going on, I was just trying to make sure like we were still going. The kitchen, the breakfast area was still open, and we had to keep going. We had like maybe an hour and a half left, and yeah. So during the rest of that time, I kept telling him to sit down, just sit. And I kid you not, he let me just explain, okay? He has a good 20 plus years on me. He is elite. He's in his 40s, okay? He's in his 40s. I'm 25. So I just keep telling him to sit down, but he wants to get up and move around because obviously other things need to be done, but I'm telling him to sit. Okay? I'm telling him to sit down. But but he's just like saying, "Nope, I can do it." And every time he took a few steps, he was in pain, and I just kept telling him to go sit down, okay? I wasn't like trying to be like rude or disrespectful or anything about it because I can physically see it on his face that he's in pain. So I'm telling him to sit down. Like it's not gonna hurt for him to sit down for 5, maybe 10 minutes, okay? 5, 10 minutes. That's so simple. But but instead I don't know, he was just being stubborn. And then right as we were ending the shift, we typically did what we normally did. We did the cleanup. I tell him if he's okay, and yeah. And then it wasn't until later that day, later that Sunday, when I got back here from my job, I got a phone call from my boss, and I found out that my coworker had ended up in the ER because his foot had gotten worse, right? His foot got worse, and he had ended up in the ER. Sorry, I need some water for a second. So yeah, so he ended up in the ER, and I was just like, wow. I knew, because here's the thing though, I knew he was in pain, but I didn't know that he was go to the ER, call the ambulance, and like send him to the hospital pain. You know what I mean? And after that had happened, I basically realized that I might actually have to work a full week. The reason why I said I might, is because I assumed I would have had Friday off. I would assume I had yesterday off. Yesterday off. Boy, was I wrong. Because every day I kept on asking for updates and seeing like how my schedule is gonna go. And then I realized something. Inspection, because like I said earlier in this live stream, I said we were getting an inspection this week, right? I was going to have to face the inspector by myself, alone, in the kitchen. Now, here's the thing though. I rarely, for the past 2 years I've been working there, I have rarely been on call or like on my shift and have an inspector like physically there. Okay, physically there. And I was just nervous, and here's the thing though, we were getting the inspection on Wednesday, right? Okay, we were getting the inspection on Wednesday. And no joke, I was terrified. Okay, Monday and Tuesday, I was really chill, but then when Wednesday came that morning and I had to go in and make sure like I was doing everything right, make sure everything was staying clean, making sure that everything was staying sanitized. I kid you not, I felt like I was about to pass out. I was nervous. I was scared. Like, I was afraid that, like, we were going to get a bad review or, like, the inspector was going to grade us and give us a terrible review. And yeah, so I just did what I did. Okay, I went in, I cleaned in the kitchen, I made sure to stay tidy in the serving area, and I made sure to stay tidy in the eating area. Okay, and it wasn't until like we were getting ready to close that the inspector was coming. And when I saw the inspector, I kid you not, the one thing I did that I feel very embarrassed to say is I said, "Would you like a bran muffin? Would you like a bran muffin?" Would you like a bran muffin? That is literally what I said. Because here's the thing though, my manager was also there, and she was explaining to the inspector, and they were talking about the muffins and how they changed, and I don't know what made me want to go up to the inspector and say, "Here you go, sir, would you like a bran muffin?" The one thing that I thought I could control myself is not try to embarrass myself in front of the inspector. And what do? I basically embarrass myself by asking for a bran muffin, and let's just say it gets a little worse. Um, then he said, no, thank you. My stomach is okay. My stomach is okay. Or, no, 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 wait, he didn't say that. He said, if I'm remembering this correctly, he said, no, thank you. And then I said, are you sure they really do help you with your colon? Oh my God. I said they help you with your colon. And then I think he looked at me like I was crazy. And I was just like, have a good day. And then I left. And then I left to go clean up the kitchen. What is wrong with me, by the way? What I don't know what is wrong with me, but on that day, basically, I felt embarrassed because I had not only offered the inspector a bran muffin, but I told him, are you sure it helps you clear your colon? Like, does anybody, has anybody who has ever done something of that level of embarrassment in front of like someone who is very important, like a boss or a district manager or anything like that? Have you ever done something so embarrassing, okay, that, or cringe, that you don't know you're doing it until like the second you say something embarrassing that comes out of your mouth or the second you do it? Okay? I need to know if anyone else has ever done something either like that or done something sort of close to being embarrassed or having an embarrassing moment like that. Because, yeah, I just don't know what to do. So yeah. Anyways, I remembered just like getting through the rest of my shift that day and I was just like, yeah. And then I was embarrassed because I had to come in the next day and I went in the next day and I kid you not, I just tried to stay away from anybody that I think I embarrassed in front of the inspector. I was more so afraid like my manager was gonna fire me. Mm. But I will say this because Servant of God 200 is asking me this. Did we get a good review? I will say this though. We passed. Well, at least my part in the hotel. We passed inspection in the kitchen. We passed inspection in the serving area. And we passed inspection in the eating area. So, we passed. I we passed. And I was very happy. I was like, hallelujah. I was hearing angels sing. And then I heard the word but. But. And I was like, well, I put my hopes up too high. Because here's the thing though, I was questioning what exactly is the but? Like, what's the but? And as it turns out, the but was there was dust on the lampshades that are hung on the ceiling fan, not the ceiling fan, on the ceiling, that are above the food trays, that are of course covered with like one of those sneeze guards, so there wouldn't really be like dust or anything on the food. At worst, the dust would just be like on the sneeze guards, and then you have to like wipe down the sneeze guards if that makes sense. But yeah. But other than that, we passed. But other than that, we passed, and I was just thanking thanking so much that I'm not losing my job. But also, it kind of made me think that, you know, I have done this job for 2 years, okay? 2 years. And so far, I For the first time, I will say I feel like I did good. I did good. I did good. And when my coworker who ended up in the hospital wanted to know how we did, I told him we passed in the kitchen, although we do need to start cleaning off the lampshades. And he said, "Oh, but we still passed?" And I said, "Yeah, we still passed." We were both very happy about it, but yeah, we had to we had to try to get through the rest of the week. So Thursday and Friday, those days kind of like passed by me in a blurb. But then Friday, okay, Friday for some reason had set me off a little. So Friday, my boss had actually made me leave early. Okay, my boss had actually allowed me to leave early. Specifically, I got to work. I ended up working like almost 4 hours that day, which trust me is not enough even in this economy to work with. But I was working today, the next day, so I figured, okay. And then yesterday was also my payday, right? Yesterday was also my payday. And here's the thing though. Recently, I have been telling myself that I want to try and budget myself better, and that's what I've been doing. And I thought I was gonna get like, a much bigger payout. I mean, not a lot. Like I wasn't expecting like $1,000. Like at best, I was expecting to get paid yesterday, like maybe roughly around $600 because that's how much I actually got paid the other time when my coworker was out for nearly a week and I got to get more money put in my bank account. Okay, and I figured, okay, this is nice. Come to find out, when I opened up and saw how much I got paid about $400. Not 600, 400. Okay. Now, to some people who are watching this, obviously you must be thinking, but 400's like enough, right? No. Okay? Especially in this economy. Because here's the thing though, like I said, I was expecting a decently sized big payout, like I did that one time before. But when I had saw it, I was just like, well, why is my pay so low? And then I found out the reason why is because I had exceeded my hours worked, apparently. My hours worked. And I was just like, what? And I was being explained to how because I'm part time at that job, I am only allowed to work this many hours each week. And I was just like, whoa, 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 hold up, hold up, hold up. First off, nobody told me about how many specific hours I was supposed to work, okay? I was told that we get paid based on how many hours that day we are working. Okay. Now, here's the deal. I understand what I said sounds crazy, and I understand that a lot of people, they have jobs that would, allow you to work this many hours each week. Now, like I said, I had no idea about the hours thing until I was told. So then in my head, I'm thinking, so did I just work like an extra day for like free or something? Because I sure as hell did not do that. Or I would have not even shown up to work that day if I was gonna get, if I was literally gonna be stuck working for free, basically. Like, are you kidding me? I was there, and instead of like thinking, oh, I'm gonna be getting money today from this job, I basically got paid. I basically almost didn't get like paid for one day for like a few hours. And I got like and they made me go home early early, early on my payday, by the way, yesterday, on my payday, because I exceeded hours that week. Mind you, I said that I was gonna come in, okay, for the whole week, okay? Because here's the thing though, I spent a whole week, okay, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going into work at 5 a.m., clocking in at 5 a.m., cooking, cleaning, preparing food for the next day, cook, greeting people, talking to people, dealing with people who either were wishing me a blessed day or wish I got hit by a truck. And also stressing out about the inspection just so that way I would end up with nothing really for like 1 day of pay because of hours exceeded. Yeah, we do have a union, so. But yeah, that just made me mad. That just made me mad. Okay? And not only that, that wasn't even the worst part of my day. That wasn't even the worst part of my day. Okay? So after I left, and here's the thing though, that morning as I left, I went to the McDonald's across the street because, well, it was 9:30, so they were still open for breakfast, and I haven't ate breakfast like all morning, which is also another thing, by the way. Another thing, okay? I was working all this week with like no breakfast. And the only thing really I had for breakfast during that whole week was like one apple. One apple. Seriously, one apple. And like a small cup of juice from my job. That was it. Not a big tray of like the pancakes and the sausages and the biscuits and the gravy and the grits and the omelets. No, I did not have any of that. I had an apple and an orange juice, and that was it. Okay? And since it was my payday, I did spend not even coffee, okay? That's also another thing. I didn't even have coffee, okay? But you know what I did had? I had an energy drink every single day at my job because I can't have the coffee, okay? I'm one of those I I can't have any of the coffees, okay? I can bring myself my own drink or somehow bring like a coffee from home, but I can't have the coffee. Okay? Somehow. So, what do I do instead? I bring the energy drinks that I keep underneath my dresser. Not my dresser, my desk. Okay? And I have like one can left that's supposed to last me for tomorrow. Okay? Because I'm off Wednesday and Tuesday. So, yeah. So, what do? I go to McDonald's to get a breakfast. Okay? Get breakfast. And then after that, I come back here and I open up my door and I found one of my siblings' cats sitting on my bed, but that's not what I'm talking about. That was bad. Now, here's the thing though. My sibling's cat is known to like somehow sneak into my room, and I generally don't know how. But also they're a little bit of very fast a little fast little cat. So if you have a cat or a kitten or a dog or any type of pet that you know can like really like zoom past you like very fast, before you even get the chance to like grab them and pick them up, you understand what I'm talking about, right? So I walk in, I take off my shoes, and I place my socks on the carpet, only to feel something wet. Only to feel something wet. And what do I look down? I see one of my cups of water that I keep on my dresser because I'm one of those people who doesn't like to walk into the kitchen to get like a glass of water in the middle of the night in case I'm feeling thirsty. And it is on the floor. And I am looking at this cat and I'm like, and here's the thing though, I was already mad that morning, okay? It wasn't even noon, it wasn't even 11 o'clock. It wasn't even 11 o'clock in the morning, okay? I was just looking at this cat and I was going, you have 10 seconds to get off my bed and get out this door. And once those 10 seconds pass, I I took the cat off my pillow and placed her in the hallway and just shut the door and locked it because I generally just could not deal with people for the rest of the day. So, yeah. Oh, and then I had to basically clean up the the water that gotten into my carpet. So yeah, which it's okay now. I did get a towel to dry it up. I did dab. I dabbed on the carpet with a towel. So yeah. So it's dry, but well, it's dry now, but it was wet, or it was wet yesterday, if that makes sense. And I do have a fan, and I did have a ceiling fan kick in to help try to see if it can like dry it some more. But yeah, I also got an air vent just in case. I mean, I don't really know if like an air vent can help dry like a certain part of the room, but if it can, okay. So yeah. Yeah, so the carpet's dry now. The carpet's dry today. Um so yeah. And then I come into work today and I find out that my coworker um my coworker, the one who I talked about, had ended up in the ER because of his foot. Um, he was basically somehow in like the same condition, only he said he was a little bit better. He was getting a little bit better. He just has to take it easy on his foot. He told me he was like in some sort of like cast, but it wasn't so bad. He just has to like sit down every few minutes just in case. So while that was going on, I was kicking into high gear, just trying to make sure we were putting food out here and there. So yeah, yeah, that's that's what I was doing, and yeah, and that was pretty much all day. And then when I explained to him what had happened this week, he was like, "Wow, I'm so sorry for you." And I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry for you. You're the one who ended up in the ER. You're the one who ended up in the ER." Like, I get it. He's sorry that I had to work a full week with like no day off, which meant I had no full night of sleep half the time. But I also take melatonin gummies to help me fall asleep, and they do work. They do work, I will say on me. On me, they definitely do work. But but however though, it would be nice to like try and get back to a routine where like I get to sleep in, sleep in and have a day off. Specifically, I would love to have a day off. I told myself that when Monday comes, okay, when Monday comes, meaning my day off comes, and then Tuesday also, I'm gonna be trying to work on what I want to say. I want to say it's called like a reset or something for me, meaning that I want to try and like do a bit of a deep clean in my room. Like, I want to clean up my carpets, I want to clean my sheets because they're starting to smell kind of funky. I want to clean my windows, want to clean my fans, want to organize my closet, basically do basically do like a whole cleanup, and then also hopefully get a haircut because this hair is driving me crazy. Especially in this weather because I have such thick hair, okay? And I don't know if anyone else who has thick hair knows what this is like, but excuse me, but whenever it gets too hot sometimes, and if my hair's like really long, I kid you not, I will become so uncomfortable that I'm just, yeah, yeah, that I just need to get a haircut, okay? And I get a haircut like every 2 months, I think. Every 2 to 3 months, I get like a haircut. So, which, not gonna lie, I love getting a haircut as an adult, okay? I love getting a haircut as an adult for many reasons. One, it just makes you feel clean, it makes you feel good. Um, Two, it's just, it makes you feel, I don't know what's the word that I'm trying to think of, but whenever you get like a haircut it just feel and you get that feeling like you feel a little bit lighter, you feel more, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like when you get a new haircut, it's just bliss. You have like a feeling of bliss or something. Clean shaven, yes. So, yeah. That that is one of the things I hope to do on Monday. But also they said like we're supposed to get like a rain all day on Monday, so hopefully I can get to the barber and hopefully it doesn't rain too much, or better yet, it doesn't start to rain. But also here's the thing though, the barbershop I go to is very specific with its time and dates. So Tuesday they're closed, but also they're either open at 10 or 11. So 10 or 11. So it's really hard to really pinpoint exactly, if that makes sense. So you have nice hair. Yeah, thank you. But pretty soon I'm going to be getting a haircut because this is slowly driving me crazy. Like you can't tell, but the hair is very thick. And here's the thing though, I remember when I was in high school, I decided to grow out my hair a little bit, but when I had gym class, that was terrible. And it wasn't until like that summer when I got a haircut, it was great. What kind of cut do you usually get? So whenever I get a haircut, I always make sure to ask, like, get my sides cut short, meaning like almost like I want to say almost like you can like see the scalp, but also there's still like a little bit of hair on the sides, if that makes sense. And then I also ask for like just for the top, just trim it, but also leave some hair at the top as well, if that makes sense. So almost like kind of like a military haircut, but not really. You know, there's still being a little bit of hair. Um, yeah. What is sleep and rest? I have no idea. I haven't experienced sleep and rest in a while. Okay? And I am just trying to get through one more day of work. Okay? I'm trying to get through one more day of work. And once I get through that one day of work, I will try to be like, okay, I am ready to pass out on my bed. I am ready to pass out on my bed and go to sleep. Because I kid you not, that is literally my only favorite part of the day. Literally just coming back from work, being at works all all morning. The reason why I say all morning is because my job has me working from 5 a.m. to almost either 11 or 12 in the afternoon. So, yeah. So this is essentially, yeah. This is essentially my favorite part of my day when I get to just lie down in my bed, which, trust me, um, for many people, they might think, oh, that's weird. But for most people like me who understands, yeah. But yeah. So overall, though, from everything I was talking about, Um, I pretty much this week has definitely challenged me, has definitely pushed me past my buttons. I am going to say is very true. Has pushed me past my buttons and also has basically made me feel like I have been losing my sanity. And also made me realize I need a break from drinking so many energy drinks, okay? So many energy drinks. Like, I still have one, okay? I still have one energy drink, but I'm saving that for tomorrow because, okay? Because I work tomorrow, and since I can't have the coffee, I need another way to get caffeine into my system. So, what better way than with an energy drink? Yay. Yeah. However, though, I will say this week, though, this week did teach me one thing. I did do something that I told myself I was gonna do. And that thing was basically, I told myself when I was going to get paid, I was going to take a certain amount of money from my paycheck and put it into my savings so my savings can grow. And I kid you not, the minute I did that, I was just like, wow. Huh. And then when I started to budget myself for the next 2 weeks until I got paid, I realized, huh, so this is what it means to try to stay on budget. Okay. So yeah, I will say though, my goal for one of my goals for right now though is to try and like reach like $1,000 into my savings. Okay, at least $1,000 because well, I want to have $1,000 in my savings and start building up like a backup just in case when I get the boot and basically get told to say, your service here is no longer welcomed, but thank you for your time. Because I'm also on a little bit of a crunch to decide whether or not I should renew my papers for me to work at this hotel or not renew and basically, let them kick the boot on me or give them my 2 weeks notice. So, yeah. I'm trying to get through 2 more days of work. You got this, Dark 113. I believe in you. Stay strong. Trust me. If I can do it with like, I don't know how many hours of sleep, because at this point I've lost count. But also waking up to caffeine in my injected into my system through an energy drink can. Yeah. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay? Just remember to pace yourself. I will say that though. Because here's the thing though, I used to end up not working. I used to drink energy drinks. Like I used to drink 2 every day. And now I kick back to 1, but only specifically on dates when I'm at work. Okay? Other days when I'm not at work, so like on my days off, I make sure to stay away from like so much caffeine and try to have other drinks in my body to help. Like I've been drinking some electrolyte packets recently, which aren't really that bad, okay? They aren't really that bad. Like hold on, I'll show you. I actually have 2 of them. Okay. Sorry, I had to go and get them real quick. So I actually have 2 of these electrolytes that packets that I have been using lately and drinking. So one of these is the Pure Kick. So this is Pure Kick. This flavor is strawberry watermelon. Um, It says here it has 0 sugars. It's 7 electrolytes, 5 calories. Um, this brand does say it's gluten free. So if you're like sensitive to gluten, okay. I always try to like make sure like obviously I'm not having too much. So like currently there's 3 packets in here. The packets for the Pure Kick one are they look like this. So yeah. Now the other thing I have, which I had bought today, is the hydrating electrolyte drink mix. This one is the strawberry flavor. Although this only has 4 sticks. However, though, the packets are like much bigger. The packets are much bigger, which makes sense why there's only 4 in here. There's only 4 packets in here. But yeah, I will say though, so this brand, um, It's made with pure cane sugar, dextrose, citric acid, salt. Oh, am I literally reading the ingredients when I'm live? Can you get cherry flavored packets? I mean, yeah, you can. There are, I think they have the cherry flavored in this brand though. So you might want to look up Pure Kick for the cherry flavor if you're curious. This one, I've only seen this brand though in two flavors. One in strawberry, and the other one I believe is pineapple coconut. But other than that, I think this brand might actually have a cherry. So, okay. So remember, Pure Kick. Pure Kick is the one you're looking for that might have the cherry. Okay. But anyways, yeah. So let's see. What else should I talk about before I end this live, which will be in a few minutes? Yeah, so overall though, this week, like I said, has been very rough and has pushed me past my buttons. However, though, I'm just gonna try and like get through tomorrow and hopefully it goes well. Okay, because I've been needing a day off. Okay? Not only that, but I have been needing to go to a beach or something because I kid you not, I recently bought a bathing suit like a year or so ago, and I still have not been to the beach since like 2024. I haven't been to a beach since 2024, okay? That is true, by the way, okay? Um, I haven't been to a beach since 2024, and that was nearly 2 years ago. So now I'm hoping to try and find a day to go to the beach because the summertime is kicking in. But with this crazy weather at the moment that we're having here in North Carolina, all I can say is please let there be one day where like the sun is out, the temperature's like okay, I can go to the beach will be calm, I can just lay down in the sand, go for a swim, try to see if I can tan, which honestly is impossible for me because here's the thing though. Whenever I try to tan, it's more like roast. It's more like roast. Try not to get roasted actually. Try not to get roasted like a chicken. Okay? Because here's the thing though. Whenever I go to the beach, okay, I am very pale. Okay? That is a fact. Obviously you can tell, or if you can't tell, I am very pale. Okay? Which means I really don't get a lot of sun. Okay? And the few times I do, it's like I'm only out for a few minutes or about an hours or a few hours, and got to make sure I got sunscreen on me because if I don't have sunscreen on me when I'm at the beach and applying every 2 hours, it's either, here's the thing though, if I'm not wearing the sunscreen or if I don't apply, I'm gonna come back from the beach looking like a lobster. But if I do, I leave the beach not tanned, but looking like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Okay? And I'm sorry to everyone here who thinks, oh, but you know, you can tan. Yeah, you can tan. You just need to go outside more. No, I can't. I'll either end up as two things, okay? It's either lobster or Casper the Friendly Ghost, okay? With me, there's no tan. There is no tan, okay? I cannot tan even to save my life, okay? And even if I attempted to tan, like I said, I'm just gonna end up looking like a lobster. Okay, just saying. I don't know if anyone else has ever has that happened to them before, but that has happened to me so many times that I've lost count. And there was actually a time I remember when I went to the beach one time a few years ago, and I came back and I thought, oh wow, okay, not a single sunburn on me. And then I looked at my shoulder and I saw that I got a sunburn, and I had shown a relative of mine, and he said, hey, you know what? That sunburn on your body, it kind of looks like cherries. And I was like, what? And he told me, my relative, he told me, yeah, it looks like you got a sunburn, but yeah, they look like cherries. And I'm like I got a sunburn and it looks like I have cherries. And yeah, but that's not the worst because like a few years later in 2024, okay, mind you, 2024, which was the last time I had ever gone to the beach, okay? I basically got back leaving the beach and I was sunburnt from head to literal toe. I was sunburnt. Thankfully, not the swimsuit area, but I was sunburnt from my head to my shoulders to my back to my arms to my stomach to my waist to from my knees down to my leg to my feet. Okay, I was sunburned and I had posted pictures about it and I was just like I was just like nope. Definitely not definitely not going to the beach for the rest of the summer, or at least this summer. And then I remember that week I had to go back to work. And I kid you not, 2 days later, when I came back to work that week, my coworkers, they saw me and they were like, hey, you gone to the beach? And I said, yes. And they said, oh, you look very red. And plus my skin was starting to peel. So that made even more sense. Yeah. But you know what? I'm just gonna try and see if I do go to the beach anytime soon, I'm definitely gonna need to pack a lot of sunscreen. That is all I can say. Okay, let's see what else. Really though, that's it for today's live stream. Okay, so before I go, I do want to say thank you to everyone who had stuck around for my live stream. Thank you for joining. Hopefully tomorrow though, I might have like a fun activity that I want to do while I'm live. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see for tomorrow. Okay. Again, thank you very much for joining my live. I will be live again tomorrow, but around 3 p.m. Eastern time here in America. So if you want to, please hit the bell notification so you can be notified when I go live tomorrow. Also, if you are new here, please subscribe to my channel, wherever the subscribe button is. It's free and you can always change your mind later. And also, if you like this live stream, please like. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you have a good day and or night. And as always, take care, stay safe, and I love ya. Mwah. And to anyone new here, that's what I always end up doing at the end of my live streams. I always end up blowing a kiss to the camera. So, okay. Thank you again for joining my live stream. And as always, take care, stay safe, and I love ya. Mwah.